Hi, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sierra, and a little bit about myself is I am a millennial. I have MS, and I am a thriver. And everything that I do, I try to make sure that I am my best self. So you'll hear me a lot of times in my videos saying, I really want you to be your best self, because I do, because I believe we can be our best self. In this video, I'm going to talk about my MS story. I have other videos on my channel that talks about MS as far as coping and how it goes as far as medication, but I really want to talk about my MS story. I first started feeling symptoms of MS when I was like 14 or 15 in high school, and it seemed like the symptoms happened at night. And I always tell my mom, I was like, Mom, my legs feel like they're still moving when I'm laying down. I think I have restless leg syndrome. And Mom, she didn't know. She was saying, okay, Sierra, you probably just was very active today. Just relax your legs, just relax. And so I did it. Be out throughout the night, I would always grab my legs. And I never really understood it. And it was just so irritating at night. But that was if I could look back at everything, I would say it started with my legs. And then years had passed and I was in college, and when I was 20, I don't know whether y'all remember those little text pad key phones that you would flip up. I had an LG. It was the best. But anywho, one day when I was texting one of my friends, this right finger just started doing this. And at the time, I was really complex by it. I'm like, what is going on with my hands? And it happened throughout the whole day. So when I got home from school, I shared with my mother. I said, Mom, I'm like, my hand is shaking. I said, look, I said, every time I get in this motion here to text, my hand is shaking. And she was like, Sierra, your hand is shaking. And, after some time after that, I just ignored it. I'm like, well, maybe I was just nervous, or maybe I drank too many Mountain Dews, because I was a soda head. And I have to work on it. I have to work on it. And I just thought it was maybe some caffeine or something that I drank, too much chocolate. So I backed off of eating as much chocolate and drinking as many sodas, and it disappeared. But I'm telling you, when I got to college, I was in a junior college, best experience of my life, going to community college straight after high school. When I got into the big leagues, when I got into a university, it was stressful, but I was one of those students. When I got into the university, I was already 21 years old, so I wasn't playing no games. Like, I wasn't thinking about partying. I wasn't thinking about meeting up with a lot of people. It was all about my studies. And so I made that my priority, and I went at it hard at times. And the inkling of when I started really feeling something is when I maybe was around like 21. I started getting these strange sensations in my arms and in my legs, and it would happen randomly. And at times it felt like they couldn't even move. But I believe I didn't pay attention to it as much because I was so active studying the library, getting things done. I didn't pay no attention to it. But it would get me at times when I was at rest. So when I would sleep, I would feel like, ooh, my arms is a little numb, or my legs are a little numb. What's going on here? And then at the time, I wasn't too sure what it was, but I started getting spasms. Now, I do have GERD, and that's like acid reflux. And I was like, well, maybe it's that. I started feeling it in my chest. I'm like, whoo, I got a lot of pressure in my chest. What's going on? And I said, well, maybe I'm just nervous. I'm really putting my all into school. Maybe I just need to relax. But I found out when I relaxed, it got worse. And so I ended up going to the doctor, and I started feeling just really weird. getting these random symptoms of numb hands, numb arms, numb legs. I'm like, what is going on? I'm tripping. Maybe it has something to do with acid reflux. I don't know. And y'all, thank God I had those symptoms, but I was able to get through. I hit them books hard. And I finally graduated with my degree in social work. Yay! Hey, social workers. Hey, y'all. So I, of course, hit the books hard, and I decided to go to grad school. So I applied, and I got into grad school. So right after me being in undergraduate, I went straight to grad school. Whew. Y'all talking about somebody feeling some awful symptoms. My first semester when I started, this was August of 2013. And I said, ooh, I'm starting to feel a little weird here. I was starting to get vertigo. At that time, I didn't know what it was. I was like, man, I'm starting to get a little dizzy when I'm driving. I'm starting to get a little dizzy reading these textbooks. So I started getting dizzy. And then I would just have this fogginess. And I'm like, you know what? I hit the book so hard. I just thought I was just overwhelmed. And then a situation had happened within my family around that time that was extremely stressful. And that really knocked me off my game. I felt fatigued. I was really tired. I was really, sad around that time. Not to mention, I got real sick in my body. And I was starting to throw up, and I couldn't keep anything down. Went to the doctor. Make a long story short, my gallbladder went bad. So my first semester of grad school, I had to have surgery to remove my gallbladder. Thank God that was successful, because I had that removed December 2013. That was a successful surgery. When I woke up from that surgery, y'all, my legs were numb. I could not walk. My legs were shaky. It was really wobbly. And I did not know what was going on. But I said, it's just a side effect of the medication, and my body's went through so much getting my gallbladder removed. So I ignored it. Then the following semester hits. I get back into school, and everything's going, but I never really felt like myself. I've always felt like after that time in school, a lot of times, most days, I would just fake it till I made it. And I can tell my teachers, they knew they were some awesome professors. I could tell they knew that something was a little off, because it got to a point where not only was I experiencing more numbness symptoms, but I was also starting to have fogginess in my brain, in my thinking, in my comprehension, understanding. And it got to a point, it got so bad, my sentence, me even writing papers got bad. And it just wasn't coming together. And thank God they let me do some of them over again, because I would have gotten a C or lower than that. And I thank God for the people who sent my way, because I felt like I could barely think at times. And I said, oh my Lord, something is not right. And so thank God I was able to get through. But it got to a point, I felt like it was my GERD. My GERD at the time, that's what I was thinking it was. I think it was the GERD, but it was also, unbeknown to me, MS symptoms. I felt like I was having heart attacks. There was points where I would get numbness on the side of my body. My face was droopy. I didn't know what was going on. So I went to the doctor plenty of times, and they like, well, maybe it's this. I got on some acid reflux medication, and just relaxation and everything, learning to do more of that. And I couldn't shake it. I could not shake it, and I didn't know what was going on. So to make a long story short, I got through grad school, but it was very difficult. Thank God for my teacher, professor, great classmates, wonderful family. I got through it. That summer, I had worked a job, and I graduated May 2015. When I got over the summer 2015, I was working a job at the university, and I really enjoyed it. I was working with the students in orientation. I really enjoyed that. For the most part, that was okay, but I was still having symptoms of me having numbness. And so that passed, and I started a social work job in 2000 and I think it was September 2015. During that time, the job that I had, I was doing clinical social work. And sometimes when you are in an environment and it's not the right soil, you're the plant. If it's not the right soil for you to grow in, it's not going to work. You're not going to grow. You're not going to get anything from it. And it was a really stressful job. It was a bad environment. Manager, who happened to be the director, wasn't too nice of a person. I was just going all over the place. I was working in 3 different counties. I was doing in-home, in the office, school, or wherever we can meet in the community, doing community outreach, and it was a lot. And it required for me to do a lot of driving. And it just got to a point, I was starting to get more dizzier and more dizzier. And one rainy night, I'll never forget, my GPS went out. I was leaving from work because it was a late night. Leaving from work, couldn't find the client's home. GPS was messing up. I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to just call it a while. I eventually found the client's home. They wasn't there. So a lot was going on. And never forget, it was rainy that night. And I felt so dizzy. I didn't think I was going to make it, y'all. I just started praying and praying. You know, I'm a spiritual person, and just praying to God that I can make it. But literally, I was on the wheel, and I was breathing all heavy, and I just felt so dizzy. And then my arms and my legs was just getting so tired. But thank God I made it home. Because when I made it home, y'all, I practically collapsed on my bed because my body was just done. It was done. But to make a long story short, the job didn't work out. It was a mutual thing. I think both of us gave each other the deuces. It was very mutual. So separated from that job, of course, I was heartbroken. I'm like, no, this is my first job out of college. I'm just so sad. What am I going to do? Y'all, I didn't need it anyway. But all that stress caused me to have a god-awful exacerbation. And I would say in January and February, I had some of the worst symptoms. I'll never forget walking in the house with my mother as I was preparing to get another job, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Y'all, I came in the house with my mother one night. We was in the car. I said, Mom, my legs are so tired. They're so tired, Mom. I don't know what to do. And so she brought me in the house. But guess what? My legs was out of control. People with MS, y'all know what I'm talking about. Being wobbly, legs going everywhere. My mama literally had to take her legs and put her legs on top of mine and clasp me like that so I would stop moving. My legs went everywhere. My mom took me to the bed. She did a assessment on me because my mom is a nurse. And my mom has worked in a lot of fields of nursing. And one of those fields she's worked in has been neurology. She just checked my reflexes. And there was my feet could not move. My legs could not move. And my mother, she took her hand on her head and she said, oh my God. Oh my God. And I said, Mom, I'm like, what is it? What's going on? She said, Sierra, you need to go to the doctor. I'm like, do you know what's going on, Mom? She was like, my mama, she don't like to speculate. She was like, you just need to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor. The doctor that I went to during the time, I feel like she had dismissed my symptoms early, but I didn't have a history of MS. Like, nobody really knew. She really dismissed my symptoms. I'm not going to blame her for it. It's just something that happened, And I had to go back to that same primary doctor. And she said, Miss Harrison, she was like, I'm going to send you to neurology. I really think you need to get looked at. Because literally my legs, and it took a few weeks after that incident happened with my legs that I set up an appointment with the doctor. And of course, it was another month when I got into the doctor's office. And when I had my first assessment, y'all, it's like my body went down. After that stress with the job, my body went down. I came in there, y'all, with just legs all wobbly. She did an assessment with me. And, when you do this with your nose, and I think it's a cognitive assessment as well as some other things. You do that with your nose, you do that with your hands. Y'all, this left hand was like this. I couldn't even put it in a circle. And I said, oh my Lord. Now, mind you, before I went to the appointment, I had went to Food Line, and this is when I was still driving, and my foot, I noticed, was a little floppy. And I was having a little drop foot there, and I'm like, a drop foot, and I'm like, what in the world? And when that appointment ended, I said, okay, something is wrong. And my sister was able to take me. And I said, doctor, do you know what it can be? And she was like, well, I don't like to speculate, but it looks like it can be MS. My heart dropped, but I wasn't surprised because I kind of looked it up. And y'all, I was so afraid and scared, but I was also just overwhelmed. I'm like, this can't be my life. MS, I didn't know any black people. I ain't know any black people, especially young, with MS. I just didn't know it. It was kind of unheard of. In my area, in my family, it just was unheard of. And I said, this can't be my life. And so, y'all, I got my test done, went back, did my lumbar on my MRI. They ended up giving me an MRI because it was so bad. They gave me an MRI like a few days after I seen the neurologist. She was so nice. Y'all, after they did my MRI, they found 3 lesions on my brain. One lesion was the size of a large grapefruit. It was on the right side of my brain. And then there was 2 lesions that was the size of like a lemon. They were on the back of my brain. The one that was on the largest lesion that was on the right side of my brain, it was in thalamus part of my brain. That was an area that is really not common for lesions to be in MS patients. So they paid special attention to that, and it was really scary, and the size of it was very alarming. So yeah, y'all, it was crazy. And the thalamus part of your brain is responsible for your motor and sensory signals, as well as alertness and consciousness. I was just shocked. They ended up doing a lumbar puncture test on me, and they confirmed that I had MS. And I said to myself, this could not be my life. I'm like, how could somebody who strives so much and who didn't just get herself out there and do, how could somebody like me get something like this? That was my attitude then. I was just so shocked, y'all. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And I went through a period, y'all, where I just shut down. There was some days I didn't even talk to my family. I went into my room, like curtains was dark. Like I didn't want to talk to anybody. And there was a point I just didn't even, in some ways, want to talk to God. Because I said, what did I do to deserve this? Just really self-pity, feeling sorry for myself. I started on treatment, and that was just a whole nother thing of itself, monster of itself. But I used to get Plegridy. That was my first MS treatment, and it was insanely painful. And because I was a little skittish of needles, my mother, thank God she's a nurse, she was able to give them to me. In my stomach, and my arms, and my legs were rotated every 2 weeks. And I would just, really, when I started up, and I would get flu-like symptoms. So I learned to take Tylenol to like reduce my fever and different things. But it was a bad experience, y'all. And then I didn't realize how long relapses can last, but mine's lasted for at least 6 or 7 months. And it gradually got worse. So it went from my legs getting bad, for me not being able to walk. And then it went to my eating. One day my throat was dry. I was having difficulty with swallowing water, with eating solid food, with eating soft food. And it got to a point where I even choked on my spit. And fortunately, I had already had a routine appointment for my esophagus to be checked. I was able to get moved up because I was having those symptoms. So I went to the gastroenterologist and I got my esophagus checked. And basically, what she found was that my esophagus was normal. I didn't have anything going on with it. And she said, okay, Miss Harrison, you have dysphagia. That is a swallowing disorder. It got to a point where for days prior, especially the last 2 days, I couldn't drink anything or either swallow my spit without choking, without feeling like something was stuck in my throat. The gastroenterologist told me that I was so dehydrated that they had to keep me longer in the recovery room to give me 2 bags of IV saline. That's when I knew that this MS was, that I was dealing with something serious. I had to drink things like Ensures, eat mashed potatoes, stuff that was just really, I was just, y'all, it was just bad. And people don't even know, like, if I didn't have humility ever, that's when I started having humility. And this pride that I built up in myself and my accomplishments, it started dwindling because I'm like, if I don't have my health, I don't have anything. Before then, before it got really bad, that's when I started, looking at the sermons and stuff like that. Like I said, it got worse when I started to develop my relationship with God more. And I said, Lord, I need to know whether or not you're going to heal me. If not, how do you want me to live my life? And I got this beautiful healing vision of me at a fountain and me washing my head and everything. It got worse after that. And because I was in my word and I was doing things to encourage me, I decided to pray over myself. So I prayed over myself and I said, you know what? And I got right back on the back porch. I said, I'm not waiting for my healing to come. I'm going to get my healing right now. God did it, because I'm telling y'all, the worse I got, now I got the MRI in, I got it in March 2016. By September, my symptoms were so worse, they had to give me another one. And so guess what they found? The lesions that were the size of lemons on the back of my brain, they were gone. The one that was the size of a grapefruit was the size of a peanut, y'all, about that big. And since then, I have always had that little peanut size lesion. Now, does it bother me from time to time? Absolutely. Have I had some exacerbations and relapses? Yes. I'm telling y'all this story because I feel like it's important. A lot of times people with MS, we all have different symptoms, and we can all kind of look back at the things that we didn't notice before. Like, hey, I did feel that motion in my finger. Hey, my legs were acting up. Hey, I did have a headache that day. And I had a lot of headaches too. Y'all forgot to say that. It has not been easy, but over the time I have learned to be grateful. Not every day is easy. Of course, recently I had to switch over treatment, and because the treatment that I had, it's just, I was starting to revert back. I was starting to get paralysis in my left arm, my left leg, and of course, everything, like the issues that I was having on the right side of my brain was on the right side of my brain as far as the largest lesion. That's why it affected my left side. So I was starting to get pain and stuff again on my left side, starting to get weak. And now I'm starting to drive again, but not as much as I would. But I feel like part of that, I really need to exercise more. So I want y'all to follow me on my journey of wellness, journey of just being an advocate for people with MS, and me just sharing more of my story. I would love to connect with y'all. So feel free to leave a comment. It's all about encouraging people. And that's been my biggest thing, encouraging people, inspiring people, And I feel like even if you're not where you're at, where you want to be in life right now, it doesn't matter. You do not need to be perfect in order for you to give somebody some encouragement or to uplift somebody. It just takes you being real and having the heart to do it. This was my MS story. I look forward to sharing more things about my MS story because it's always an extension, right? We're going to always learn something. I'm going to always do something. I want to take you all on that journey. I want you to be your best self. I will see you in the next video. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Come on, y'all. Join me on this journey. Let's learn together. Let's grow together. Click the notification bell, and I will see you next video. Bye-bye.